Hi, my name is Julian, and in this video we're going to be talking about the CareGuru UI test framework and the difference between generating your test data and loading your test data from disk. So now recall in the runner shell script there is a -L option, and this is pretty much going to be the focus of this video. Now before we get into the script itself, I'd just like to turn our attention to the CareGuru wiki, and on this wiki is a UI test framework page. I'm going to open up this test scheme diagram, and what this is a representation of our test data that we're currently using for our existing tests. So every time we run the CareGuru UI test framework, it's going to generate these networks and all of these users. And this data generation is being done through Casper.js. So it's actually going to hit the UI and create a new network, and then invite some users, etc. And this script exists inside of tests pre. And specifically we're looking at the generate test networks.js file. So I'm going to open this up in Visual Studios. I'm not going to go into too much detail about this script, but if you were to add additional users, or if you need to assign a user to a different network for the purpose of your test script, then this is the place where you'd be making the modifications to do that. As you can see, it's first going to generate 6 new users. With all this is going to be randomly generated data, and then it's going to create a network 0 with some randomly generated network information. It's going to assign user 0 as the owner, and it's going to have 2 guests, which are going to be users 1 and users 2. So this is all kind of encapsulated in this fixtures object. So fixtures is going to have an array of networks, and each network is going to have info, owner, and an array of guests. So that object representation is defined in this wiki page for object definitions. So as I was saying, in the Casper CareGuru fixtures networks, it's defined as an array of network objects, and each network object is going to have an info, an owner object, and an array of guests. So this is going to be a pretty useful place for you to get your definitions of what each object kind of does and its purpose. So going back to the script, like I was saying, if we were to run, let's just go back. If we were to run the runner shell script, by default it's going to execute the generate test networks. And that script, because it's run through Casper.js to generate all that data, takes roughly 3 minutes to execute. If you're running TDD on your local environment for a new feature, that's going to be pretty expensive. So what we've done is specified a -L param, which actually loads the previously generated test data from disk. And that's pretty much what this script does right here. So before I execute this, I'm going to show you what that that JavaScript looks like. So all it's doing is it's loading this networks.json and then assigning it to that fixtures networks object. So going back to this generate test networks, as you can see, you know, it's generating all this information and assigning it to the various network object arrays. But at the very end of the script, it's pretty much writing all that data into a networks.json file. And that's the file that we're using to whenever we specify that -l parameter in the shell script. So by specifying -l, we skip the generation of the test networks and we save ourselves roughly 3 minutes per test run. And if you have a, you know, if you're constantly running your tests locally, this can add up quite a bit of time. So I'm just going to specify -l and -s. Oops. And just get this going. So as you can see, it's executing with the load test networks from disk script as opposed to the generate test networks. And I'm not going to let this finish because it's going to take a few more seconds, but that should be it. Thanks for watching.